Why are so many folks looking to move to South Florida in 2022?
Well, that's a good question. We're also going to answer some of the pros and cons of living in South Florida in 2022.
We're the Morris Group. I'm Kev.
And I'm Suzanne.
So welcome to our channel, Living in Fort Lauderdale with Kev and Suze. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Go ahead and think about subscribing. That way you drop a new video every week. You get notified as soon as we drop it.
We'd sure appreciate it. We're going to give you some great intel. So if you will stick around, we're going to get started.
Terrific. Welcome back. So we're licensed realtors here in the state of Florida. And as much as we love doing videos and sharing all the great things.
And we do. We love exploring and showing our great state to you here in South Florida.
As much as we love doing that, we would love more to help you with all of your real estate needs. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Why are so many folks moving to South Florida in 2022?
Yeah, tell them why. Why are so many?
What are the pros? What are the cons of living in South Florida in 2022? So we've helped out many buyers with our vlogs and blogs, and we're going to tell you what they told us to make the move. What they told us they liked, what they told us they didn't like. Again, going back to the pros and the cons of why they came down here to South Florida and are looking to do it in 2022.
You know, in fact, this week I was talking to a nurse who had just moved down from New Jersey, and with the COVID and the climate, she just decided, why not? This is the perfect time to move. We've been hearing this from some of our buyers, our clients, and just people in general. When you're out, they'll tell you as to why, and we're going to give you the heads up now.
So let's just go right ahead and jump into the pros. Obviously, the first pro for us, from our perspective, and what we're hearing back, is the economy. So not only do we have a strong economy, it's also very diverse. It includes tourism, which everybody knows about tourism in South Florida. It includes financial services, aerospace, aviation, agriculture, and now even technology is starting to get a foothold in South Florida. Furthermore, the unemployment rate in South Florida is actually below the national average. It's kind of surprising given how much the dependency is on tourism, even with hard hit in tourism because of the global health crisis and because of the travel restrictions and everything else. We're still below the national average in unemployment. This has actually resulted in many folks who work remotely making the decision to come on down here to South Florida and work remotely, basically to take advantage of all the amenities of being in a year-round outdoor type location and climate. It's just a great opportunity for a lot of folks who have been forced, or either by choice or by design, who are working remotely. They're making the decision to go ahead and come down here because we do have a strong economy and things are going very well here in South Florida. So if you're looking for a job or you want to start a business in Florida, it's a very productive business climate in the state. Very low corporate taxes, number one. It's actually in the bottom 10% of corporate taxes in the country. There's no state income taxes, which for those of you that are in states that collect income tax, state income tax, you'll notice an almost immediate, what we term as a pay raise, if you will. And there's also no estate taxes. And for those of you that are looking to come down to own property, your primary residence is also subject to a homestead exemption from certain real estate taxes. It's a very good, strong economy here in South Florida. Weather is another big reason why folks are moving to South Florida, especially those coming from the northern states. And with over 300 days of sunshine every year and average temps in the high 60s to low 70s in the winter and high 80s to low 90s in the summer months, it's no wonder why. There are plenty of days to do all kinds of things that you want to do, all your outdoor activities: swimming, surfing, boating, sailing, walking, cycling, fishing, and golfing.
Flying kites.
Basically, whatever you want to do, whatever your outdoor interest or passion is, you can probably find it here. With an abundance of parks and recreation facilities, and especially the granddaddy of them all, the Everglades Park, you won't want for things to do or see.
There's many hiking trails. Wait, you forgot to mention the water taxi.
Oh yeah.
And being able to eat outside and dine near the water, or just dine anywhere outside most of the time.
It's an interesting fact. I read somewhere that they say that we have almost 3,000 hours of sunshine every year. That comes out to almost 8 hours a day, every day of the year, sunshine.
Right. So while you have people maybe up in the north that it's snowing, you can actually go and dine at a restaurant here on the water with maybe even, when it's winter, a light jacket.
Or even a pair of shorts.
Yeah, that's true.
And we get the occasional, and yeah, actually we mean every day, the afternoon rain showers.
Well, almost every day.
Almost every day. There's plenty of indoor activities, museums to go to, shopping to go to, indoor dining, entertainment. Got a couple of nice casinos down here, the Hard Rock Casino, the Isles Casino, all kinds of fun things to do inside. And if for some reason you really don't like the weather, do what us locals say. Just wait 10 minutes and the weather will change.
Yes, the weather will change.
We're right on the Atlantic, and you can go out and do all kinds of fishing and all kinds of great things. There's truly a ton of things to do out here that'll basically indulge almost, as we said, almost any one of your passions or any one of your interests.
Snorkeling, looking for the turtles. That's a super fun activity.
But overall, with a strong economy, the cost of living in South Florida is about 21% less than Los Angeles and about 33% lower in New York. Not coincidentally, two of the cities, according to Stacker.com, with the largest migration to South Florida. So with housing and transportation costs make up the most over the national average, healthcare and utilities are actually below the national average. So it's actually a very affordable place to live. You just need to do a little bit of homework and look at the pros, look at the cons, look at where you're going to be and what you're going to do. Reach out and ask questions. Please, if you have any questions, just drop them in the little box below. We'll be sure to answer them as soon as we can. Talking about the pros of South Florida, it'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the beaches. And you really can't talk about South Florida without talking about the beaches. I mean, anything everywhere from South Beach down to Miami up to the West Palm beaches, South Florida is home to some of the most beautiful and iconic beaches in the country. You have beaches that are known for surfing. You have beaches that are known for scuba diving and for snorkeling. You have South Beach, which is where everybody who wants to be seen goes to be seen, and everybody who wants to see who wants to be seen goes there to see who's being seen there.
I'm so confused.
And then you have the West Palm beaches, which are some of the most beautiful beaches, soft white sand beaches. You have beaches like Deerfield Beach, which is a blue wave beach, which is considered very special beaches because a lot of care and a lot of attention is paid to keeping the beaches clean, keeping the beaches neat, and making sure that they subscribe to and are set up for success based upon very, very high criteria that they're clean beaches and they're healthy beaches, everything. So the beaches down here are actually fantastic. For those of you that are not really big sand folks, you have all kinds of lakes and canals, so there's a lot of waterworks around here. And for those of you that are not from the East Coast and not familiar with it, the Intercoastal Waterway is kind of like a second beach. It's a waterway that comes from northern part of the country all the way down here, so that if folks are coming down on a boat and they don't want to go out in the Atlantic, they can bring down the Intercoastal Waterway. It's one of the longest navigable waterways in the country that people can come down to, and it sets up for some of the most beautiful beaches, some of the most beautiful areas to live on, to hang out in and stuff like that. So you have basically a ton of beaches to go hang out with. Perhaps one of the most surprising and one of the most pleasant things to us that people have come back with is the diversity. And South Florida, it's a veritable mixing bowl of people and cultures and backgrounds. And I'll tell you, it's awesome. You get to experience all kinds of festivals and fairs and celebrations, African-American festivals, Asian festivals, just to kind of name a few. And most everyone there is anxious and eager to tell you about what they're doing, where they're from, what their contribution is to everything. If you're a foodie, kind of like I consider myself to be, and I know that Suze, she kind of indulges me on this, you get to experience some of the most awesome cuisines. We absolutely love it, and most of the folks we talk to, that's one of the big things that they talk about is it's a very pleasant surprise as to how diverse it is, but how everybody seems to get together and get along together, and it's just a mix for a very wonderful environment and a very educational learning environment. You learn so much about other people and where they're from, just talking to them and going to them in a very social, very laid back, very easygoing setting. One of the other things about having such a tremendous amount of outdoor time and outdoor great weather and stuff like that is if you're a sports fan like I am, there's no shortage of sports down here in South Florida. I mean, you have the Miami Marlins for baseball, you have the Miami Dolphins for football, you have the Florida Panthers for hockey, you have the University of Miami for college football, FAU Owls for college football. I mean, had a great season this year. There's all kinds of winter sports that go on as far as baseball teams, MLB teams coming down here, the winter camps and stuff like that. There's all kinds of stuff. Major league sports, minor league sports. Rumor has it they're actually going to get a really, really big push to put an MLS soccer team down in Miami. It's being led, I think, by David Beckham. So you know it's going to be very, very successful, and it's going to be very, very, very popular. Again, even if you're just getting tired of hanging out at the beach and getting sand everywhere where sometimes you don't even want it to be, there's all kinds of other things to do outside that you can kind of just take advantage of all the outdoor time and all the outdoor life. You know, it's been said that you got to take the bad with the good or experience the bad to appreciate the good. Either way, we'd be remiss if we didn't cover some of the cons for some of our friends and some of our clients.
So with full transparency, we're going to tell you some of the cons.
We talked about the weather being a pro. Well, the weather can also be a con, because I'll tell you honestly, it gets hot, damn hot in the summer. And from April to November, basically every day is a bad hair day.
Well, it is a bad hair day, and no matter what kind of products you use, you're going to have a bad hair day. You might as well just not worry about it and just throw it up. Throw your hair up and put it in a ponytail or whatever.
And those pesky afternoon showers we mentioned from June to November, you got to be real careful because sometimes they have the potential to become hurricanes.
Or you'll be out shopping, then all of a sudden the rain comes. Now you're out in the rain.
Here's a very funny story. We're from North Georgia.
Well, you're actually from Virginia.
Yeah, I'm from Virginia. But one of the things that we thought was kind of neat is we've been through a couple of hurricanes down here. And for the most part, we've been fortunate where it's basically missed us. The one thing that just kind of really surprises me and actually makes me kind of chuckle and say, is that it doesn't really matter what the weather event is. We got a notification a couple of years ago about Hurricane Irma coming through here. And even though it swept way to the west and went over it out into the Gulf, you show up at the grocery stores and without fail, milk, bread, toilet paper, gone. Now, I'm not really sure why it is that everybody makes a run for milk, bread, and toilet paper. When I was a kid and lived in Virginia and we had big snowstorms coming in, kind of understood it. You need to feed the kids, give them milk to drink, and of course everybody needs toilet paper. But down here, it's the same thing. I mean, it doesn't matter what the weather event is, and for those of you that are experiencing some of the snows and some of the storms up in the Northeast, up around Boston, we have some friends up there, they got 18 inches of snow yesterday over the weekend.
Yeah, well, what about your friend whose heat went out and it's like 59 degrees in the home?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That doesn't happen here.
Exactly. But anyhow, it's just, we thought it was kind of amusing that no matter where you are, no matter what kind of weather event it is, it's still the same thing. Milk, bread, and toilet paper seems to be the things that are hardest hit.
Kind of like with COVID, huh?
Yeah, true.
Coronavirus!
We talked about being outdoors and everything and how great and wonderful it is being outdoors and all that kind of great stuff. But some folks don't like being outdoors. And even if you like being outdoors, one of the things that, again, we need to kind of make you aware of is that there's all kinds of wildlife down here. There's bugs and critters and all that kind of fun stuff. Most of it because of the water, the heat, the humidity. There are insects. I mean, there are lots of insects and there are big ones at that. Mosquitoes and ants, bees, wasps, biting mites. They're kind of all over the place down here. Again, it's just something you got to kind of know with. You get iguanas that are hanging out in the trees and they're roaming the parking lots and the golf courses because they're out sunning themselves. And some of those lizards, they can become pretty big lizards. They're pretty good size. Kind of moving up the food chain, you need to be aware of snakes. There are about 40 different types of snakes here in Florida, South Florida. Fortunately, only a few are venomous. They're not really plentiful, but you got to kind of watch out where you are. Of course, those of you that have seen Guardians of the Glades or any of the things like that, you'll see all the pythons that are out in the Everglades. Everglades is a whole different area, but you kind of know what you're getting into when you go out there. Speaking of the Everglades, and let's not forget about the alligators. Fortunately, everywhere in Florida, the alligator population is about to be, I figure it's about 1 million of them in Florida, and there's probably a couple 100,000 here in South Florida. They're not really known for being aggressive, but you need to know about it. You need to be aware of it. Be a little discerning when you're out playing golf and you see a small gator coming out of the water hazard on the golf course, or if you're walking down one of the many hiking trails down here and you look over in the canals, the rainwater drainage canals, and you see a couple of eyes staring back at you, they just kind of get to know what's going on down there. As I said, most of the encounters are very, very low, but again, it's something that you really need to know about. We talked about the cost of living being a pro, but it can also be a con. And while healthcare and utilities are very, very affordable, the cost of housing here in South Florida can be daunting if you're not prepared. So let's kind of take a little closer look at the housing costs. So if you're looking to rent, and this is something that you need to know, the rental market here is very, very hot right now. Partly due to the number of folks that are relocating to Florida, as we're talking about, which is kind of the whole purpose of our video here. And the other reason is that the shortage of homes for sale here in South Florida. If you're looking to buy, which is terrific, there are homes available here in South Florida, but they don't stay in the market very, very long. And you need to look at the cost of home ownership. I'm talking about more than just the cost of purchasing the home. Interest rates are not as low as they were a year ago. The cost of insurance has gone up, as have the HOA costs and the condo fees. They are keeping pace with increasing costs. We want to be very, very transparent here about this. We're realtors here in South Florida. And as I said, we love doing our videos, but we love even more helping folks with their real estate needs here in South Florida. If you're buying, you need to find a realtor that knows what's going on in the areas that you're looking at. Again, I'm not picking on anybody, but we have no shortage of semi-retired and retired realtors from other parts of the country who don't know the nuances of this market, but they know that our market is hot and they come down here and they think it's a place to be because the market is hot. So please, with any questions, reach out to us with any questions you may have. This is what we do. This is all we do, and we do it full time. And we're going to help you in every way that we possibly can. Now, we also talked about having a strong economy and all the great things about not having to pay state income taxes and individual income taxes in Florida, and corporate taxes also being some of the lowest. But on the other hand, you kind of going to get dinged for sales tax and some other fees. For example, the combined state and local taxes are about 7%. It's not as high as some of the other states like Tennessee or Kansas, but it's still pretty high, and you kind of need to know what's going on there. The other thing is that you're going to get dinged a little bit on renewing your driver's license. It's not cheap to do that. A little bit more than we paid here. We paid when we were in Georgia, and registering your vehicle, especially first time registering your vehicle, can be a little bit more than what you anticipated. The other thing is that Florida is one of the states that has higher than the national average of tax on gasoline. Just putting gas in your car can cost a little bit more than you are used to paying in some of the other states like South Carolina and Alabama and even Georgia. Again, some of those taxes and fees, they can add up, and you need to be aware of it when you're making your decision and you're looking at all the variables for moving down here to South Florida. You've heard the jokes, you've seen the stories on TV. Traffic in South Florida is bad. And in the high season, which is basically October through May, it's really bad. It's bad because the population increases, there's more people, there's more cars, the size of the roads, the number of roads don't change, so basically you're adding more to the mix. And the other reason is partly because folks that come here, they're from all over. We have folks from all over the US, Central America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa. We have folks coming in from every continent with a possible exception of Antarctica. And they all drive differently, and they all have different ways of doing things, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily meld into the most perfect traffic scenario or situation. We're also somewhat limited in our public transportation options, so coming down here and driving down here, fair warning, it's not for the faint-hearted. You need to understand what you're getting into and take a look at what's going on when you're looking at driving down here in South Florida. Now, that being said, Uber, Lyft, all those other things, those are certainly easy ways to get around and looking at things. But again, traffic can be really, really difficult and really, really bad. South Florida has a lot to offer anyone interested in the pros and cons of moving here. But do your homework. You definitely need to do your homework. And we're sure you'll live happily here for many years, no matter what you decide. So for reference, here are some of the pros and cons of South Florida. The economy,
the weather,
the cost of living, the beaches, the diversity, wildlife, traffic.
And the number one thing is people.
True, people, definitely people. So if the question, should I move to South Florida, has been on your mind, hopefully this will help sort it out. If you found this video interesting,
and hopefully you did,
or informative, then hope you'll consider subscribing. Thanks. And until next time, I'm Kev.
And I'm Suze, and we'll see you later.